Well, hey guys, let's talk about 5 useful apps for the church techie. These are apps that I've used many times that have helped me out in a bind or just solve certain problems. And these aren't necessarily free. None of these are sponsored. These are just things that I've used that maybe you haven't heard of that you can check out. So let's dive into it. The first app is an app called CAD Rage, CADRAGE. And I think it does cost a little bit of money, but the great thing about this app is that it allows you to mimic the field of view of a normal camera, let's say a mirrorless camera. I've punched in like a Panasonic GH5, and then you can use different lens combinations and it mimics it with your phone's camera. So that way you can see what the field of view would be in your setting. So many times guys are like, hey, my pastor's 65 feet away from us. We want to get a waist-up shot with this camera. What lens should we use, right? And this app allows you really just to see very, very close what that would be without having to do any calculations or calculators online. So check it out. That's the first one, CAD Rage. Next is an app called Audio Tools. This one costs a little bit of money as well, but it's got some great features for the church audio guy. One of my favorite things that I use on this app, which it's compatible with iPad as well, is the graphing feature. If you're like me, you have multiple different sound guys, and this allows you to actually graph a service while recording the audio with the built-in microphone. And the graph will tell you a representation, of the dB levels and how that church tech sound guy is running things. So you can go back and kind of compare. And this has helped me realize I've got one guy one week that's actually running things a little bit quieter than the other guys. The app has other great features that are very pro, even beyond what I know how to use, like using external microphones with it, doing, it has SPL stuff. It has I think a red light, yellow light, green light you could use if you wanted to sit an iPad there and it's you're getting above that dB level. It's gonna go red an old elementary school cafeteria. I don't know if you had one of those. I had one of those growing up. If it went to red, you weren't going to recess. But that's the second app, Audio Tools. All right, so the third app that I've used pretty frequently is this little app called Light Spectrum Pro. It's not perfect, but it allows you to get a quick idea of the Kelvin temperature of your key lighting. You just point your phone's camera at your light. Like for instance, this light in my office here is supposed to be daylight 5600. You can see it's reading it at 5500, about there. It is not perfect, but it gets you an idea of the closeness of the tint and the Kelvin temperature. It's better even if you point it at a white piece of paper and that kind of thing. But it's free and it's a nice one to have in your little app drawer. The fourth app is an app called Atem Tally. Now, Tally for live streaming can be important. It's not always necessary, but if you're like me, you've looked at these different, wireless battery-powered options to put onto cameras to add a tally light that shows, which camera's on air. What you can do with this app, and I believe it's free if I remember right, is if you're on the same network as your Atem switcher, then you can just, put your phone up above your camera or next to it, mount it there. You can even use older iPhones, and it will just fill the whole screen with red or green for preview or program. And so that way your pastor, whoever's on stage, knows which camera's on, live. And really, a lot of times you may just want to know, is the main center shot where I'm gonna be planning to look to talk to the people online, is that one live right now, or is it a different camera? So you may only need 1 or 2 of these devices that you can sit there. Maybe cheaper in the long run if you can, get some old iPhones from people that aren't necessarily in service, and give it a try. Atem Tally. And the last app that you probably have heard of but maybe not utilized to its full extent is the Stage Display app from ProPresenter. This app comes in handy in a pinch. For instance, we had a Sunday I walked in and our projector for our stage display for all of our singers to see the lyrics and everything, the bulb had gone out. Well, we didn't have a bulb to replace it. I didn't want to get out a ladder anyways to mess with it, so we just sat some TVs on the front row, hooked our phone up to the TV with a little lightning to HDMI, And there you go. You can have a stage display just over Wi-Fi. Now, this also has an Apple TV app that we use pretty extensively, and it's really handy because you can use a separate template for that stage display, and it doesn't count against your external displays. It's not any processing. It's just connecting over the network to ProPresenter. And there's a myriad of ways you can use this, but if you've never tried it out, the Stage Display app can come in pretty handy. Well, there you go, guys. There's 5 little apps to have in your app toolkit. So I hope that is helpful to you church techies out there. If it was, hit the like button. I'll link these in the description because they may be a little hard to find if you just type them in. I don't get any money from that, any kickbacks, but you can always book a one-on-one consult with me down in the description if you have questions about, best cameras or live streaming or audio stuff for your church. You can book that in the link below. Remember, guys, we can do a lot of great things. Let's do it all for God's glory. We'll see you in the next one.